What if this planet really is a simulation, and that's why as souls we all have to leave every single night? What if we are like a game of Sims inside of this world, where if you ever played The Sims, you know you have to make your sim go to sleep, otherwise they physically cannot function. And I can't help but notice the similarities, how as humans we have to physically leave this earth for 5 to 8 hours every single night, and our spiritual selves, we have to take a break from these vessels before we could be transmitted back into the planet. And that got me thinking that this planet must be a simulation. Otherwise, where the heck are we going every single night before we get back? And what if the reason that we're having to come to this planet for 12 to 16 hours every single day is because we're here to evolve? And what if in order to evolve, we have to feel this illusion of separateness? Because if we were always connected to the all-knowing whole of everything, then we would already know everything all at once. But what if, in order to become more like God ourselves, we had to physically come here as an individual soul, feel the illusion of separateness, and individually evolve and ascend ourselves and our consciousness levels? What if the longer that we were on this planet, we realized everything, literally everything, is a lie? What if the people who seem the craziest are the ones who just realize what's going on? What if every time you dug deeper into any single topic on this planet, you found out that what's on the surface was a lie? What if you dug deep into astrology and realized it's not true because the Scorpio constellation only is large enough to have the sun pass through it for 7 or 8 days? And what if the Virgo constellation was so huge that the sun was moving through it for a month and a half? But what if you found out that astrology is still telling people that Scorpios are born for 30 days, even though the sun's only moving through Scorpio for 8 days? What if the financial world, as you know and understand it, is completely fraudulent? What if they just keep printing money and printing money and printing money and driving down the value of your already valueless dollar because it's not backed by gold and it's not backed by anything? What if they're lending out mortgages with no real actual money, but you're still on the line for the money that you have to contribute? What if that whole world was set to collapse and the only people who would pay for it were the people at the bottom who never participated in the fraudulent activity at all, but actually just got sent there to bail everybody out who was being fraudulent? And what if that was normalized because there's so little education on the banking system and what was going on that people just didn't have time in their busy lives to dig down to the root of all these causes of inflation and dig down to the root of all this fraudulent activity being done by the banks? What if in 2021 they succeeded at manipulating millions and billions of people to put something into their bodies that was harmful, transmissible, and could be potentially lethal for the next several years to come? And as quickly as they made it everyone's number one priority to think about in 2020 and 2021, once they had succeeded at injecting said thing into millions and billions of people, they wanted you to forget that it ever happened. Because what if they knew it was too late by that point? What if they knew they had already succeeded at doing what they were trying to do, and now they're just letting the cards fall? What if all these people that are getting sick and dying and just dropping dead for no apparent reason, what if they all had the same root cause? What if all these health problems that could stem from anything from digestional issues to head problems to blood clots to strokes to myocarditis, what if all of those things had one root cause and it came from one simple thing that they convinced everybody to do and then wanted you to forget it ever happened super quickly so that they could evade blame? What if the pharmaceutical industry wasn't your friend at all? And in fact, what they really wanted to do was just create customers? What if they told you vaccines were safe because they were actually getting profit from however many vaccines that were distributed? What if doctors only want you to vaccinate because they're getting paid thousands and thousands of dollars in bonuses every year that they have 90+% of their patients vaccinated? What if suicide was skyrocketing right now because actually people are suffering neurological issues that stem from heavy metal toxicity? What if all you had to do was look up into the sky to find the source of where the heavy metals were coming from, and then it's getting into the air, the water, the food supply, the cattle, and it's getting into everything, the soil, everything? And what if people weren't educated enough to know that they have to remove all these toxic heavy metals from their body and from their brain, or it would have detrimental effects? What if all these suicides were just 100% preventable by detoxing? What if people understood the importance of detoxing rather than always feeling like you have to put something into your body? What if it's about how you have to pull something out of your body that was put in there in a way that shouldn't have happened to begin with? But what if people were just too busy to look up and to do something about what they saw in the sky? And what if all these problems have all these root causes that can ultimately be tracked back to two things: depopulation and profit? And what if the veil started to be lifted on this planet so quickly that the entire collective woke up and seen what was going on? Would that be enough to shift the frequency of the entire planet so that these things would not stand anymore? And what if instead of going on our phones and just complaining about it and agreeing that we're all upset about something, we actually just picked a day, a time, and a place to start removing people who were fraudulently placed in positions of power? What if we called their bluff and educated ourselves and said, we're not going to stand for this anymore? What would they do? What if all that was required of you as a soul was to simply see through the veil? What if all that was required of you as a soul was to simply evolve your own self to a high enough level that peace is the only thing that could prevail here? What if, as an entire collective global community, we all were operating so peacefully that war and genocide and famine could not exist here? And what if their next big plan, after they crash everyone financially, was really to hoard the most powerful resource in the world that everyone needs to survive, which is water? What if people like Bill Gates were already beating us to it because they were buying all the land with all the aquifers, and they were buying all this land near the world's largest sources of natural water, like the Great Lakes? What if in the future they're trying to force people to be able to pay per shower or pay per glass of water that they drink? And what if it wasn't just unlimited access to the water, where they just send you a bill for what you used, but what if it was the opposite? What if you had to prepay for water and you had to pay by the gallon? After they've already financially bankrupted so many people, how would people afford a shower? What if this is their true plan? And for once in our lives as a global community, we had to get ahead of this instead of behind on it and wait for the bad to happen? What if we could just get ahead of it and prevent it from the very beginning? What if?